Hello, welcome to the show. This is HackHunter, where we review some of the best and worst tattoo artists in the country. Now, in this episode, we're going to head out to Spokane, Washington. That is right. I know so many of you have written in requesting that we find good artists for you out there in Spokane, so we're finally doing it. And to kind of kill a couple birds with the same stone, I'm going to recommend 3 artists right off the bat that I want you guys to go check out if you live there. So, first off, Sean Wolf, SW_tattoo on Instagram. Phenomenal black and gray contrast work. I love it. Custom design stuff, portraiture, it's just beautiful work. Next up, Nick Lawrence. Now, he's a very versatile artist, does a lot of color work, a lot of large sleeve work, back pieces, as you can see here. His black and gray work was not bad at all either, so just for his versatility alone, he was very impressive. Go check him out, Nick Lawrence Art on Instagram. And the third one, Shane Swenson. I cannot stress enough, this guy is phenomenal at realism, portraiture kind of work. So if you're looking for anything very realistic, portrait type stuff, even his side work, his artwork on canvas, on paper, is just brilliant as well. So definitely go check him out. Now, the amazing thing about all 3 of these artists is they all work at the same studio, and that's the studio we're going to be talking about today, Anchored Art Tattoo, there in Spokane. This is just a shockingly good studio. They have an amazing roster of artists. If you want to check them out on Instagram, Anchored Art Tattoo. Like I said, they have a ton of artists. Those 3 were just the first 3 that I recommended, but they also have a lot of other artists that I would strongly recommend as well. I just want to talk today about the owner, Jeremy Corns, and you can check his Instagram out, Jeremy_Corns on Instagram. Definitely do your own research. Always, guys, always do your own research, but let me show you the highlights. Bam, look at that. Beautiful painterly style color realism stuff. And guys, to be honest, this is my favorite style of tattooing. It's not necessarily the style that I do in my daily career, but when I see it and I see an artist that does it well, it's just shockingly good to me. It's beautiful stuff. His blending is great, his color saturation is great, and his color theory as well. Putting this blue in the backdrop here, just hints of it to really pop out those pinks and purples in the foreground. Just really intelligent stuff. And I guess he would probably say this as well, but I think that his forte is a color floral stuff. Any of the flowers I saw in his portfolio were just beautifully done. The backdrops, he does this neat little trick of an out of focus backdrop with an in focus foreground, and it just makes the foreground look a lot more crisp and clean. And I zoom in, you can see the little details, little hairs on the stems that he did there. Just beautiful stuff, and I saw a lot of these in his portfolio, so I think this is definitely his MO. This is what he's good at. Look at the depth in these petal folds here. Just really great contrast. And then the small detail here as well. I think he did a great job. A lot of artists that do this sort of painterly style, they tend to do not as well at the small detail stuff. But look at this little bumblebee here. I zoom in here, you can see the pollen flecks right off his head there. That's awesome. And the vein lines in the wings, just beautiful. So I really give him props for that, getting that small detail on point as well as doing the big, beautiful, obvious detail well. And then I came across this one. Again, same stuff I've just shown you a lot of, right? But the difference is this one is a cover-up. This was what she originally had, and this is what he did to cover it up. And I think he did a phenomenal job. I can see a few thin lines peeking through there, but if I hadn't told you it was a cover-up, you might not have noticed those. And so I think he did a great job of positioning this one to mask the old one. And it just goes to show how talented he is. That's another thing in his wheelhouse, cover-ups. So just epic. This one as well. Another piece, you wouldn't have known anything's up with it at all, except for if I show you this. This poor girl. I'm sure a lot of you guys might struggle with this as well. These, I believe, are acne scars, but any kind of scarring like this, it's just sad to see. So I love it when an artist goes out of their way to create something that will mask that really well for a client. And then it ends up just looking beautifully. I think he did that well, especially if they go put like a contrast background around it here. It would cover up the rest of them and just be a beautiful piece. Now, I love to tell you that this is going to work out perfectly, but the reality is when tattoo artists are covering up scars, especially raised up thick scars, it's a gamble. It's hit or miss. We don't know if that scar tissue is going to hold the pigment or not, because scars are just dead skin. They're dead skin over top of live skin, and they're not going to hold the pigment in the right place that we put it, the same way that live skin would. So I don't want to guarantee to everybody to get this done, but I think it's amazing that he attempted it. He did a great job at it, and I'm sure this client was absolutely over the moon with the results. But all those flowers is not all he's capable of. I had to show you guys some of this stuff. This cherry here, the strawberry here, the reflection on the strawberry. These are a nightmare. I've had to do them in the past, and getting this reflection and the blending and shadowing around the seeds is a nightmare, and he did a really great job of it. Plus the corn cob in there, his last name's Corns. Had to show it. Here's a unique piece as well, this poppy that he did, but the smoke backdrop. just beautiful. Again, with the detail off the stem. I love that. Awesome to see. But his saturation is really well done here, and blending your colors in between these tiny little areas of smoke and creating an amazing design throughout like that, consistent throughout. He just did a really, really good job on this one. And then I had to show some of his black and gray work. I was shocked to see this because, you know, artists that are usually that good at that painterly style, that color style like that, they're usually not that phenomenal at black and gray work. But he did an amazing job here. Look at all that tiny detail on that hummingbird. And he did a really smart choice here with putting this wing in the backdrop out of focus. Gives it that feeling like it's fluttering. So brilliant. Another one where he did a lot of fine line stuff. So I wanted to show this one because all the fine lines up in here, that's again something that really just shows his versatility really well. I thought it was beautiful. And then we threw some color portrait work in the mix. That's awesome. The Wicked Witch of the West, was it? East? I don't remember, but she was wicked for sure. He did a great job. And the last thing I'm going to show you is this Muppet sleeve. Ah, love it. Is that fucking Beaker? Awesome. Here's another angle of the same thing. I give major props for showing this because it's all of the healed work, and I think this one's probably the freshest. Obviously, it's the brightest, but I love when artists show their healed work. It goes to show that he's confident in his ability. He's happy with how these sleeves are turned out. He's not afraid to show his customers what the tattoos look like when they're healed. So major props to you, Jeremy Korn. You got a phenomenal roster of artists. You got a brilliant studio. Thanks for making the industry look good. Obviously, you go on. Now, stick around, guys. I'd love to say everything out there in Spokane, Washington was hunky-dory, but there are quite a few artists that I'd recommend avoiding. So stick around for part number 2. Here we go.